Example 2. It took Maria 9 hours to drive 580 kilometers between Devil's Basin and Tumbleweed. The first part of the trip was through mountains, and she averaged 60 kilometers per hour. Once out of the mountains, she averaged 70 kilometers an hour the rest of the way. Question: how many hours did she spend driving through the mountains? To decode and understand the problem, you must realize that there are two components to the trip. Part 1, we're going to let x represent the time in hours traveled at 60 kilometers an hour, namely the component that allows us to drive through the mountains. The second component, we're going to allow y to represent the time in hours traveled at 70 kilometers an hour, or the time spent driving out of the mountains. The next idea we need to express is that the formula speed times time is equal to distance. We are told speed, we are told time, and we can use the general formula for distance. We'll obtain two equations with two variables. For the first component, note that we're driving through the mountains. We are solving for x. The question wants us to determine how many hours are spent driving through the mountains, so we are going to solve for x. So for the first component, know that 60 kilometers per hour will be 60 times x, and the distance therefore is 60 times x. Going out of the mountains, you're driving at 70 kilometers an hour. You drive for y hours, therefore the distance is 70y. Note that the time equation is x plus y equals 9. The amount of hours you drive through the mountains plus the amount of hours you drive going out of the mountains is 9 in total. The distance is 60x, the distance driven through the mountains, plus 70y, the distance driven out of the mountains, and when you add these two, it equals 580. Therefore, you have two equations and two unknowns. Equation 1 is x plus y equals 9, the time spent driving. 60x plus 70y equals 580 is the distance traveled. So now we can choose substitution as our method of solving. We want to isolate for y because that will give us a component of 9 minus x. We can insert that into the variable y of the second equation, and that way we'll have one equation, one variable, and one solution. The next equation becomes 60x plus 70 times 9 minus x, all in parentheses, equals 580. Distribute 70 to the contents of the bracket to yield 60x plus 630 minus 70x is 580. Collect your like terms. 60x minus 70x is negative 10x. Therefore, 630 minus 10x is 580. Subtract both sides by 630. You'll get negative 10x is equal to negative 50. Now divide both sides by negative 10 to obtain x is equal to 5. And now we can conclude, therefore, that driving through the mountains took us 5 hours. And this is how you solve this type